Well, this technique has been in the US and the bass fishing circles for a while now, but like lots of lures and presentations, its popularity kinds of ebbs and flows. But the fact of the matter is, it is still an extremely powerful technique and presentation when you can't seem to buy a bite no matter what you are throwing out there. So here are the basics if you want to give spy baiting a try. First, let's go ahead and talk about the equipment. Lots of anglers throw this on spinning gear, but you can have success with it on baitcast equipment as well. The spinning gear will definitely get you more distance, especially with some of the smaller spy baits like a size 80. And so often when you need to pull out a spy bait, we need that distance, right? We want to be as far away from the fish as we possibly can because they're already tough to catch. But feel free to try it on both types of reels. Now, as far as the line goes, I'm going to go with straight fluorocarbon. Depending on the depth I want, I will change pound test. But the reason I'm going with the fluorocarbon is because it sinks, right? Its density allows it to sink in the water column. And a spy bait, when we reel it really slow, tends to run a little bit tail down anyway. Now, if you reel it a little bit quicker, it'll straighten right up, be more horizontal in the water column. But there's this fine line between reeling it too quick and then reeling it at the right speed, which is usually fairly slow in presentation. Well, monofilament floats, and I don't want that extra float to pull that nose up even more. So that's why I'm going to use fluorocarbon to help me straighten that lure out with a more horizontal presentation the best that I can. But if that tail is coming down through the water column, just a little bit, don't stress about it, don't worry about it. It's still going to be an effective lure. Next is go ahead and practice counting it down, letting it get to the depth that you want. So if you're by a little bit deeper water on the shoreline, or if you're in a boat, go ahead and flip it out there and kind of just say, okay, it's sinking, 1 foot per second or whatever that might be. And that's going to help you accurately get to the depth that you want. If you're fishing an edge, okay, let's say we're breaking off a weed line or, a rocky point or something that's dropping off, and you're like, I really want to focus on that 10-foot zone. Well, really practice counting it down, and keep in mind that the deeper that you want to fish, the sooner that lure is going to start to angle up back towards you. So if you want to fish deeper, make sure that you're making even longer casts to keep it down there in your target zone as long as possible. Now, as far as the retrieves, so many different lures in the bass fishing world. We're talking about starting and stopping and erratic movements and ripping them, all that type of stuff. This is one of those exceptions. It's just a slow, steady retrieve. It takes almost zero speed or almost zero effort to get those props spinning, and then it just has this nice subtle side-to-side roll, which is what really gives it its fish drawing power to it. So very simple to fish, just nice steady retrieve on the way back. And of course, until you start to dial in what they want, maybe speed it up just a touch or slow it down just a bit to kind of figure out what they're doing. And the bite is just going to be one of those, most of the time you're just going to kind of feel some weight. If they're in a spy bait mood or in a situation where you need one, you're not as likely to get those absolute smashes that you would, let's say, on a hard suspending jerkbait. So it's usually just going to kind of load up, maintain pressure, and you're going to be good to go. The other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you keep checking the props. It's super easy for kind of that floating debris in the water column to get in and around the props where it'll slow them down or maybe stop them altogether. So every once in a while, make sure, give them a little flick that they are still spinning extremely freely. And hey, if you want to watch a video that talks about another technique that is very powerful for super tough conditions, go ahead and check this one out right here, and make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.